Binions.
John Walsh, Whitney Rumors, and Mariah next E.T.
The green button.
Back in business, stocks trade but fade as the nation returns to work. America's airlines in financial turmoil. Can they survive? And the hunt for the alleged terror attack mastermind.
All roads lead to Osama bin Laden.
There's an old poster out west, as I recall, that said wanted, dead or alive.
And a CBS News exclusive, we take you inside Ground Zero in New York as the search goes on for victims.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather. Special extended coverage of America Rising. From CBS News headquarters in New York, here is Dan Rather.
Good evening. The United States took a major step today along the road to recovery. The road began at Wall Street. Stocks slumped, but the stock market was open for the first time since the murderous attacks in New York and Washington. Here's some of the latest. In New York, hopes are still alive, but they're fading for finding anyone alive in the rubble of the Trade Center. 190 people confirmed dead there, close to 5,000 missing. President Bush visited the Pentagon, where the death toll is 188. The president said the U.S. wants prime suspect Osama bin Laden dead or alive. A Pakistani delegation is relaying U.S. demands that Afghanistan turn him over or else. The Taliban government is not expected to do it. U.S. agents will begin flying shotgun on commercial flights. Congress is considering an airline industry bailout. The Fed cut interest rates to give the wounded economy a boost. And, as was expected, stocks plunged. The Dow lost 684 points, the NASDAQ 115. In each case, a loss of about 7%. We began our coverage with Anthony Mason and the financial heart of America coming back to life.
Smoke and sadness lingered in the air around Wall Street.
It's really depressing. I can't believe it's like this here right now. I don't even know what to say.
As bankers, brokers, and traders finally went back to work today.
It's not the business part of it. It's just to be able to hug one another.
Traders hugged and cried on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange as everyone paused this morning for 2 minutes of silence. But when the opening bell finally rang, a wave of selling hit the floor.
Take 4,000 trade at 90.
Sold 16.8 trades at 20.
92 4 trades at a dime.
Sell them all.
You got to remember, Anthony, this is a continuous market. And when you bottle up for 4 days, you know, it spills out once you release it.
And within half an hour, the Dow was down more than 600 points and headed for its worst one-day point drop in history.
The stocks that we thought would get hit badly have gotten hit.
Travel stocks took the heaviest damage, led by the airlines and by Continental. Its stock plummeted 49%. The Fed had tried to soften the blow to the markets by cutting interest rates half a point even before the opening bell. But
nothing seemed to work today. It was just this overwhelming sense of let's sell first and then sit on our hands and wait for developments.
The NASDAQ also fell 6%. The good news, the markets did open without a glitch.
Was there anything you were worried about coming into work today?
I was just nervous because I think all of us at the moment are nervous.
15.21, Piper sold.
While the technology worked today, NASDAQ CEO Wick Simmons says the market itself has not been fully tested.
Last sale for 80,000.
And so we're not going to rest on anything today. We've gotten through today. I think operationally it's proved that we'll continue to keep going, but the direction of the markets is another question.
For some time, Wall Street may be as turbulent as the world.
$590 billion in stock value was wiped out today in record trading. But as bad as it was, many traders feared it could have been worse. So after a harrowing week, Wall Street is back in business. And amid the sadness, there is also a real sense of relief. Dan?
Anthony Mason, thanks. On the world oil markets today, prices plunged amid reports OPEC might be ready to boost production to help the U.S. economy. The fuel-thirsty U.S. airline industry is also among the casualties of the death squad attacks. President Bush today ordered an assistance package for the airlines, and there's additional action on Capitol Hill as well. CBS's Bob Schieffer is there. Bob?
Dan, the president acted with good reason. The airline suffered such staggering losses last week that experts now say not just one or two airlines, but the entire airline industry could go into bankruptcy if it does not get immediate financial aid from the government. It's so serious, this could go far beyond just the airlines. That's because the airliners grounded last week represent a $700 billion industry that makes up 10% of the entire U.S. economy. One of Capitol Hill's acknowledged aviation experts says we cannot let a segment of the economy that large collapse.
If this industry goes down, there is no other airline to come in and provide the service. We have to save this whole industry.
And what you're telling me is the entire United States airline industry could go down as a result of this.
Exactly. The whole industry is on the edge of a financial abyss.
With 1.2 million airline workers, an industry-wide layoff could raise unemployment 2% and have a staggering ripple effect. Example, Washington's Reagan National Airport alone, which was closed this week for security reasons, pumps about $5 billion a year into the local economy during normal times. Congressional experts say industry-wide rescue may require $5 billion immediately, with more needed in the months ahead, but they argue there is really little choice.
By government order, they were literally put out of business for 4 or 5 days, so they should be compensated.
Equally important is restoring consumer confidence, convincing the public it is still safe to fly, which could mean spending even more if the government is forced to take on new security responsibilities.
I believe we've got to show the American people, the traveling public, which is all of us, that it is safe to fly, that we've changed a lot of things at the airport.
And as if to underline the immediacy of all this, U.S. Airways announced 11,000 layoffs today. We're told American Airlines will announce more layoffs later this week. Dan.
Bob Schieffer on Capitol Hill. Besides talking up the long-term strengths of the U.S. economy, President Bush delivered blunt talk today about waging war against terrorists and those who harbor them. CBS's John Roberts has more about what the president has been saying and doing. John?
Dan, from talk about the economy to plans for possible retaliation, the message from the president today, confidence.
At the Pentagon today, cheers all around for a commander-in-chief preparing the military and the nation for war. And in his toughest language yet, President Bush got personal today, vowing one way or another he will put Osama bin Laden out of business.
I want justice. And there's an old poster out west, as I recall, that said, wanted, dead or alive.
The White House believes there is nothing to stop the president from making good on that threat, stating clearly today that in bin Laden's case, the 25-year-old ban against assassinations doesn't apply.
The executive order does not limit the United States' ability to act in self-defense.
With no reasonable expectation that the Taliban leaders in Afghanistan will hand over bin Laden, Mr. Bush today pledged he would defend freedom at any cost and acknowledged there will be sacrifice.
There's no question in my mind that the resolve of our military has never been stronger. And we will win the war, and there will be costs. But the military folks understand that.
At the White House, President Bush huddled with advisors to measure the economic costs of the attacks, directing his staff to draft a bailout plan for the ailing airlines, weighing the wisdom of more tax cuts to spur the economy. Mr. Bush also moved today to address a series of troubling bias crimes across the country since last Tuesday, visiting a local mosque in Washington, preaching the gospel of tolerance and unity.
Those who feel like they can intimidate our fellow citizens to take out their anger don't represent the best of America. They represent the worst of humankind.
And the president continues the work of building that coalition against terrorism, meeting with French President Jacques Chirac tomorrow, the president of Indonesia on Wednesday, and British Prime Minister Tony Blair on Thursday. But words of caution today from Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak, who said it's too early for talk of a coalition and warned the president against attacking an entire nation just to get one man. Dan?
At the White House, John Roberts. Whatever secret military options the Pentagon has on its drawing boards, target number one is no secret. Within hours of last Tuesday's attacks, President Bush became convinced that Osama bin Laden was the prime suspect. But naming him and catching him or killing him are entirely different matters. as CBS News national security correspondent David Martin reports. David?
Dan, one senior official says that in all the years American intelligence agencies have been tracking Osama bin Laden, they have actually seen him in the flesh only twice. Finding him now is going to be even more of a long shot, which is why the U.S. is trying to coerce the Taliban rulers of Afghanistan into giving him up.
I can't be certain of where he is. I'm reasonably confident and certain that if the Taliban government wanted to find him, they would know where he is if he is still in Afghanistan, and I have seen nothing to indicate he is not.
President Bush has made no secret of his intention to go after bin Laden and his fellow terrorists, but today, for the first time, he threatened the Taliban directly.
We're going to hold the people who house them accountable. The people who think they can provide them safe havens will be held accountable. The people who feed them will be held accountable. And the Taliban must take my statement seriously.
For years, the Taliban have maintained bin Laden is their guest, under their control, and could not possibly have committed the evil deeds the U.S. accuses him of. And there's no sign they've changed their tune.
The Taliban, of course, is responding in the way that it always has, that Osama bin Laden and his associates are guests in their country. Well, it's time for the guests to leave.
We will not allow ourselves to be terrorized by somebody who thinks they can hit and hide in some cave somewhere.
But what's in those caves is another problem. Bin Laden is believed to be working on chemical and biological weapons and could even be hiding nuclear materials. The Air Force has been developing bombs to vaporize chemical and biological agents, but officials are worried an attack would contaminate the area and kill innocent civilians.
Before it comes to that, officials plan to deliver a last-minute ultimatum to the Taliban, but that won't happen until the Pentagon begins moving its forces into position to strike. Dan?
David Martin at the Defense Department. Here in New York, rescue workers are risking their lives for a seventh night, searching the rubble of the World Trade Center for victims. It is called Ground Zero. But so dangerous is the work there, New York's Cardinal Edward Egan is calling it Ground Hero. To be at ground zero of the World Trade Center attack is like stepping into some epic disaster movie. Dramatic, awful, larger than life, as though teeming with a cast of thousands on a Hollywood movie set. If only it were so. It is surreal, and television cannot do justice to the noise, the choking air, and the sheer scale of the dusty, mangled ruins. All 16 acres of it.
It's a horrible, horrible thing. It's like World War III here.
The once gleaming 110-story towers have been reduced to a 6-story mountain of rubble and tons of smoldering, ashen debris.
I want to make sure I understand this. There's a fire, maybe a considerable fire, still burning down there?
Yes.
Almost a week after this happened?
Oh, yeah. We can't get at it. We'd like to go in there. When we pull all of that debris off it, we'll be able to put the fire out. We can't pull all the debris off it yet because we're still trying to find some people.
And so New York City Fire Commissioner Thomas von Essen has organized a bucket brigade to gingerly, painstakingly sift through the debris, hoping for the welcome sound of a cry for help. But the odds, like the wreckage, are stacked against them. No one has been pulled out alive since Wednesday.
We have 343 firefighters, fire officers, and EMTs missing. We've confirmed 32 of those to be dead.
How do you keep these men going hour after hour, day after day, particularly when their hearts are so heavy with the loss of their own?
These guys are special guys, and they feel that if there's any way, even if their brother is not alive, they want to find him. They want to recover his body. They want to be able to go to his family and say, we found him.
It is a family, and we won't give up till we get him. You know, if it was your brother, you would do it. You know what? These are our brothers.
In all, some 5,000 people are missing, feared dead in the rubble. New York's top cop, Bernard Carrick, refuses to believe they're all gone. Is there some possibility of a pocket down there or a fairly large area in which some people might be trapped but still getting air and be alive? Is that possible?
Well, that's kind of what we're hoping for. You know, there's certain areas that's under where it was under the primary towers that
possibly 6 or 7 floors under there. There may be voids. There may be vacuums.
But Commissioner Carrick, like his men, is optimistic one minute and realistic the next.
If you look around, you'll see that there's not much concrete. The concrete was pulverized. And could that happen to bodies? Yeah. I try not to think about it.
By the end of this week, it's expected that the decision will be made to classify the mission not as one of rescue, but of recovery, meaning all hope is lost of finding survivors. Fire Commissioner Tom Von Essen is the man who will make the call.
That's a heavy decision, Commissioner.
It's about as heavy as I'll ever face, hopefully. I've never dealt with anything like this. I don't know if anybody has. Maybe in wartime, where a general had to, you know, worry about so many of his troops being murdered. And these men were murdered. These men were innocent men that were coming in there to, they helped an awful lot of people get out of this building.
All of America wants to see a miracle, a missing victim somehow found and brought out alive. But this isn't a movie set, and the fire commissioner knows the clock is ticking.
There's 6 stories of malls and parking garages and everything else below us. So we believe, we want to believe that some of our people might be down there, some of the civilians that worked in the building might be down there.
You said you believe, and then you said you want to believe.
Well, because each day I'm believing a little less.
Officially tonight, still a search and rescue mission. Up next here on the CBS Evening News, the latest on the criminal investigation, including a first look at the alleged hijackers.
Now, the same caltrate that helps fight bone loss may help your colon too. In a recent study, caltrate helped reduce the risk of recurrence of colon polyps, a risk factor for colon cancer. The same caltrate you take for your bones, now for colon health too.
Tired of struggling down glass after glass of powdered fiber for regularity? Consider refreshing glasses of water with FiberCon tablets, a whole lot easier to take.
And every bit as effective as powder.
FiberCon, refreshingly easier to take.
My doctor says I'm healthier than he is. I swim every day. It takes your mind off your troubles.
If you suffer from arthritis pain, speak to your doctor.
The lake is good for your soul.
Tylenol Arthritis Pain, the strength to provide all-day relief with just 2 caplets. And it's gentler on your stomach.
When I swim, I'm free.
Tylenol Arthritis Pain.
Lincoln, Mercury, and Ford dealerships offer convenient Saturday hours because your tires, battery, shocks, and brakes are working hard all week, just like you. Our quality care professionals know exactly what your vehicle needs to be at its best. Now get a Motorcraft Tested Tough battery for $59.95, making it easier for you to get an expert under the hood. Quality care service on Saturday at participating Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury dealerships.
My business is more than just a business to me. It's my passion. So when my doctor told me I have asthma, I went to cbshealthwatch.com. One click on Smart Search gives me exactly what I need to know about controlling my asthma, from medications to new treatments. With CBS Health Watch, I spend less time searching and more time doing the things I love.
Save time, get answers. Visit cbshealthwatch.com.
The long jump. The dash. Life is like a sport, and your feet take the impact hard. But new Stride Guard insoles absorb 50% more heel impact than these Dr. Scholl's. Take more impact in stride. New Stride Guard insoles.
New Malox Max challenges Mylanta Supreme. Who neutralizes more acid? Malox Max. Relieves pressure and bloating. Malox Max. Comes in 3 great new flavors. Malox Max. 3 ways the right choice is new Malox Max. Agree or it's free.
Within hours of the terror attacks, very fast in such a complex case, investigators announced they had not only the names, but also the pictures of the hijackers. Tonight, Americans get their first look at the faces, most of them of the men who allegedly carried out this crime. Some were sleeper agents. They'd lived quietly in this country for years, working, taking flying lessons, preparing for that day last Tuesday. Now, as CBS News correspondent Jim Stewart reports, investigators have a lot more than pictures to go on. Jim?
Dan, sources tell CBS News federal investigators have recovered physical evidence from the homes and cars of the dead hijackers, indicating that if the 19 hijackers had failed in Tuesday's attack, they had an alternative target that would have been hit with more conventional weapons. The sources would not identify the target nor the manner in which it would have been hit. Sources say details of the plan are still emerging.
Instead of scrambling for leads, the FBI is now awash in them. From apartments, homes, and cars once belonging to the dead hijackers, agents have uncovered a money trail that they hope will lead to the hijackers' accomplices. The 4 men who seem the most promising suspects are being held under material witness warrants in New York. These two, Ayub Ali Khan and Mohammed Jawed Azmith, were plucked from a train in Texas after their flight landed prematurely following Tuesday's attack. Zacharias Moussaoui, perhaps the most promising suspect, was arrested before the attacks last month when he tried to get flight simulator training in Minnesota, while little is known about the 4th man, Albador Al-Hazmi, a radiologist in San Antonio. Meanwhile, the list of people wanted for general questioning has grown to 175. Investigators say these people may have known someone who knew the dead hijackers, been traveling that day themselves, or suspiciously dropped from sight after the attacks. Some have already been questioned.
There are individuals cooperating, yes. There are a number of individuals that are not cooperating.
The Saudi embassy is cooperating. A diplomat arrived at the FBI with documents today, but the Bureau has an embarrassingly small number of agents who can translate them. Today, the FBI put out an SOS for speakers of Farsi and Arabic.
We have had a language shortage for a period of time. And I don't think it would be just the FBI. I think it's a number of federal agencies.
This is a problem for the Bureau that cannot be overstated. What good does it do, for example, to put a wiretap on someone if you can't understand what he's saying? Dan?
Jim Stewart, thanks. CBS will be back with more news in a moment.
This weekend, Enterprise Rent-A-Car announces special low rates from just $9.99 a day. Friday till Monday from just $9.99 a day. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
1-800-RENT-A-CAR.
Right on target. Now, Grecian 5 hair color targets only your gray hair to leave subtle tones like your own natural color, all in 5 easy minutes. Grecian 5 targets only the gray.
Abner, we're rich.
We're rich?
It's our new litter. It's got diamonds in it.
Diamonds! What's a diamond?
A diamond is a very valuable...
You are mistaken, my friends. The diamonds are crystals in new Tidy Cats Crystals blend. The clay traps moisture, the crystals eliminate odor, and that is the only reason I agreed to live here with the likes of you.
Whatever.
New Tidy Cats Crystals blend.
I still think they're diamonds.
Imagine combining the stain-fighting power of Efferdent and freshening power of Listerine. You'd get Efferdent Plus. It's extra fresh, and nothing gets your dentures cleaner. Efferdent Clean, Listerine Fresh. That's Efferdent Plus.
I'm the bus lady. Some mornings I was so constipated I could hardly drive. Till I tried new X-Lax Milk of Magnesia. Stimulant-free. Guaranteed relief by 8 a.m.
Good morning.
New X-Lax Milk of Magnesia with the X-Lax Good Morning Guarantee.
Introducing new Kellogg's Special K Red Berry cereal. Crunchy sweet flakes, now with slices of real strawberries, right in the box. Looking good, never tasted so great. Kellogg's Special K Red Berries. It's new.
When I started having hot flashes and night sweats at menopause, my doctor recommended hormone replacement therapy, but I didn't listen.
Up to 20% of a woman's expected lifetime bone loss occurs in the years following menopause.
A year later, I went back to my doctor and found I'd shrunk an inch. I went on HRT, and I've been on it for years. My hot flashes and night sweats, gone. I feel great.
HRT is not for all women. Talk to your doctor about the benefits and risks.
The time to protect your future is now.
In and around Ground Zero of the terror attacks and far beyond it, events of this day reflected new realities, new beginnings, and farewells. A funeral was held in Massachusetts for John Ogonowski, the pilot of American Airlines Flight 11, used by the terrorists to attack Tower 1 at the Trade Center. Those who lost loved ones in the jetliner crash in Pennsylvania were permitted to visit the site. And First Lady Laura Bush offered comfort at memorial services in the state. The first wave of National Guard call-ups is underway. Duties include beefing up security and relief and seaport duty, checking shipping imports. For Jewish Americans, New Year 5762 was ushered in this evening with heightened security at synagogues. Tighter stadium security greeted fans as Major League Baseball came back, including the New York Mets playing the Pirates at Pittsburgh, two home teams from states where terror hit home. No backpacks or coolers allowed in the stands. The usual seventh-inning stretch song, Take Me Out to the Ball Game, is being replaced with God Bless America.
Chilly nights at the firehouse mean heartburn and gas. These don't have the medicine to relieve both, but new Gas X with Maalox does, combining the heartburn relief of Maalox with the power of Gas X to beat the burn and the bloat fast.
29, 30, 30.
Now at Red Lobster, you can get 30 mouth-watering shrimp for just $9.99. Red Lobster, go overboard.
Enter a new era of discovery at Bristol-Myers Squibb, where groundbreaking genetic research is underway.
Winning the Tour de France was a victory for cancer medicines. But Luke, it's just the start of incredible things to come. Imagine, Luke, your medical history, the story of your genes on a card you carry in your wallet. Your doctor sees your cancer coming years before and gives you a daily pill to take that could prevent it.
At the Bristol-Myers Squibb Center for Applied Genomics, researchers strive to unlock the secrets of breast and colon cancer, Alzheimer's, and diabetes. They're developing medicines tailored to your unique genes. Bristol-Myers Squibb is beginning a revolution in medicine. Our goal is to extend and enhance life, and to lead the way in new frontiers against disease.
Hope, triumph, and the miracle of medicine. Bristol-Myers Squibb Company.
I have type 2 diabetes,
and I will always take care of myself.
I stick to my regimen. I had to make that commitment to diet and exercise.
But diet and exercise weren't enough.
So my doctor added Avandia to help control my blood sugar.
Unlike some diabetes medications, Avandia helps my body use the natural insulin it already makes.
Avandia has helped keep my blood sugar down for about a year now.
Avandia in combination with insulin may increase the risk of serious heart problems. Because of this, talk to your doctor before using Avandia and insulin together. Avandia may cause fluid retention or swelling, which could lead to or worsen heart failure. Avandia is not for everyone. If you have severe heart failure or active liver disease, Avandia is not recommended. Some people may experience weight gain with Avandia. To check for serious liver problems, blood tests should be conducted before and during Avandia therapy.
This commitment is for me, but it's also for my family.
Eat right, exercise, and if that's not enough, ask your doctor about Avandia.
So I may always be stronger than diabetes.
America rising from the ashes. Are we on the verge of war? What action will Washington take? We'll have complete coverage tomorrow morning on The Early Show with Bryant Gumbel and Jane Clayson.
6 days now since the mass murders, the search goes on for victims. Among tomorrow's headlines are these: airline stocks were among the big losers as Wall Street reopened. The Dow lost nearly 700 points. President Bush said the U.S. wants Osama bin Laden dead or alive. Attorney General Ashcroft called for easing rules on domestic wiretapping and other surveillance. For those of you returning now...